For far too long, we heard build and they will come. Well and on, they're here all right, and builders are now welcome. DeFi is going mainstream on Telegram. We now declare TAC mainnet open. Fuck the endless onboarding and bridging or installing a new wallet. No need to explain DeFi to your grandpa anymore. He's already on Telegram. And now, so are Curve, Morpho, Euler, Carbon, ZeroLend, and many more. This isn't some janky fork. It's the actual dApps and teams in your chat box with your goddamn alpha groups. It's not just about DeFi dApps. TAC is also expanding the asset class of TON. Every ERC20 token on TAC is mirrored as a JETN, the TON token standard. You can now trade your USDT for yield-bearing versions of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Someone mentioned summoning. Turtle makes the liquidity flow. TAC secures the chain, you stake it, you delegate it, you fucking earn. TAC isn't your average governance token. This native gas token powers every transaction coming from TON users. Don't get caught up in the dump.FUD noise. You wouldn't want to be the exit liquidity for max extractors. Choose wisely. Join TAC as DeFi goes mainstream on Telegram.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us. My name is Pavel. I'm a founder of what we call TAC, which is practically an EVM for Telegram. So it's a sovereign layer 1 interconnected with the TON blockchain, which is part of second these days biggest messenger in the world called Telegram. And what we're doing, we're enabling EVM functionality to the blockchain infrastructure of a rapidly emerging super app called Telegram. That's what I do.
Can you maybe share a little bit about yourself too?
Yeah, sure. I'm originally investment background. My career was in asset management through all of my professional life, let's say. And at some point, we started trading crypto, specializing in systematic strategies. And apart from that, I was looking for something, which strengthened my conviction in crypto, let's say. And I came across the thing of Gram back in the days in 2018 when Telegram was doing the infamous ICO thing, SEC regulation and everything that followed. But it was quite clear that the idea of integrating the blockchain technology into the existing community, in contrast to building community around the technology, the path which most of the projects in crypto follow, right, was innovative in a sense. And I considered that something which can push us to the next level of adoption in a sense, even back in the days. I mean, it didn't work out, but because of my involvement with Telegram crypto technology, I followed the sector from early days and invested myself, already being focused on investment side and crypto only, invested discretionary, like let's say took the concentrated bet on TON in 2022. And since then started to dig deeper into the ecosystem. Back then it was not part of Telegram partnership, and I was looking for it to happen, and I consider that one of the biggest and under the radar things still on the market as a thesis, specifically on the market like today, when everybody's looking for the narrative, particularly crypto is struggling in the sense of adoption, right?
Yeah.
This is like, hopefully is the way to go, but it's definitely a viable option, right? And that turned me into builder. I've started like investor into builder kind of a conversion, which is a bit contrarian in crypto. Usually it's the other way around, right? But I've started building the liquid staking back in end of 22, right? And the beginning of 2023 we were live with the first liquid staking on TON. Obviously, because we understood the potential of that ecosystem being built around the biggest messenger. And since then, I went through this TON native journey, and that ended up us thinking of how we can leapfrog one of the few use cases in crypto within Telegram, which is DeFi, and that's how we came up with infrastructure allowing us to benefit from the evolution of DeFi applications in Ethereum. So basically, I'm a TON native builder. At some point, I let's say, merged with Ethereum expertise. My co-founders, Michael Igorov, the founder of Curve, or my co-founder who were building tech right now, Marco. They represent the experience of EVM apps and EVM ecosystem builders and bootstrappers, which was kind of rare in a sense, but with the expertise of Ton, understanding and Telegram nativeness of mine, it's like this combination is fairly unique. Yeah, so the reason we came up with tech as an infra and as a solution was our natural push towards DeFi. And I'll tell you a story. So setting up and building the liquid staking was intentional and a natural progression of us looking at the nascent ecosystem, betting on the fact that DeFi will pick up, right? So something which is in the middle between infrastructure and app was our focus, and basically we saw the success case and the TVL utility cases for liquid stake tokens, and we progressed in that direction, right? The thing we found out from early days on mainnet with liquid staking is that without DeFi, liquid staking makes zero sense, as investors not having additional return on their LSTs will avoid paying fees for the application which provides liquid staking services and just validates, right? So why would they need liquidity? And that was actually the question I was asked in the early days, like first two whale calls, and they were like, okay, why would we pay you like, those 20% when we do validation ourselves, which costs us fairly nothing in comparison to the amount of tokens we own, and we don't have the utility for that liquid tokens, right? So since first day we were forced to think in terms of what is the utility case for LST, right? So we started digging into that. We decided to pursue the way of building CDP, collateralized debt stablecoin, which will allow people practically to lend against their tons, still ton investments, still earning staking yield, and having LTV of, let's say, 30 to 50% and in something dollar backed, right? So it was not the end solution for the utility, but at least it was something on the way to progressing to DeFi, and understanding that EVT was not even there, so USD backed stable was kind of something the ecosystem needed in a sense. So we started building actually CDP stable on Ton, and that's how we met Michael Igorov from Curve. We started implementing the architecture of Curve USD first. It could not have been cloned. I mean, Ethereum architecture, which is a sequential blockchain, differs from the asynchronous blockchain, which Ton is. So we had to figure out how to reinvent that, and it takes time and resources, right? So we tried different different models to play out with on architectural level. We came to a conclusion which drove us to TAC, which is a definite solution. But back then we were not even aware of the vast problematic of DeFi, and that not only the difficulties of learning the tech stack, the fancy, fairly new language, not very builders are familiar with, but it's something with time that changes. Like the documentation gets better, the more examples, people, the builders community is growing, not very fast, but still. The problem is the architecture is different. It's like you have time to redesign applications. You cannot go and clone the existing EVM applications. And that, by the way, we later understood that is a key component, as the evolution of applications on EVM happens in quality and fast, and fastest within the DeFi space, as this open source nature of the code allows you to take the experience of past applications with all the breaches, all the security issues solved already, right? Re-audited several times and build on top of it. Right. So basically you clone the code, which is there for, 7 years already for some applications. And that actually is the biggest takeaway from the DeFi builders, ecosystem builders perspective, as that makes those blue chip applications worth the risk from the liquidity perspective, right? And as we know, without liquidity, those applications are dysfunctional. So back in the days, we were struggling with the resources, and we thought that, we will take a year to build an application. We better take a year to build an ecosystem, which will allow us to build on top the evolution of the Ethereum DeFi ecosystem, right? Now, having done this, we understand that it's even more complicated because, if we decided to go, native DeFi building journey, we will build this. But since the emergence of the application on mainnet, it would take years for it to be battle tested. So the liquidity is trusted. Okay. So the lending market, those Morphos, others of the world, they even existing in the TVM version on mainnet, it will take time for liquidity to trust them even the local token liquidity. So, and that was kind of a thing you get when you start building this, right? So it resulted in this leapfrog architecture of TAC, which allows us practically to onboard EVM applications with them not changing much, deploying seamlessly on other EVM fully compatible layer, but at the same time being accessible by every TON wallet holder. And it's important to understand that TON is the only blockchain integrated into Telegram. And when you say TON wallet, you're practically saying every Telegram user. Maybe the user is not aware of this, but they have their crypto in their pocket, right? So I think you can just, if you know the handle of the person, you can simply send them USDT, TON, BTC right now without them even knowing that the crypto exists. And they will see the message, you've been sent this and that, click here. And the seamless onboarding, this is huge. It's worth a standalone podcast, but it's practically UX simplification step one among those two essential fundamental steps to enable the adoption, right? So people have to know that it's safe, that it's fast, that it's seamless, very simple, and adding value to them, right? So, and then that is like on the wallet side, it's already done in Telegram, and maybe I'll tell this story in more details. So we basically are focusing on three core features of DeFi, which is a swap feature represented by DEXs, which is a money market feature represented by lending protocols, and the yield, which comes out of strategies built on top of this, right? There are LMs, yield aggregators. So we are working with, I believe, like 60 to 70% of top 20 TVL applications right now. And when I say working, that means that they are either deployed already or in the process of deploying. So our partner, early partner Curve, is live on dev mainnet, as we call it right now. Morpho is being deployed right now. Euler is being deployed right now. So biggest DEXs and money markets will be there from day one, right? And when I say live, that means that they will be functional in TON ecosystem, which means in Telegram practically. They will be seeded with liquidity, which we work on separately, and we're quite successful there with our summoning campaign, still running until mainnet. It accounts for around 750 million these days in USD, BTC, and Ethereum-based assets, locked in the vaults of Ethereum to migrate to TAC mainnet. So this migration will be curated, and curators will seed those blue chip applications with that liquidity, right? It will be coupled with TON as well. So basically, we will blend in TON. So with us being on mainnet in coming weeks, we practically are saying that TON and Telegram ecosystem will have access to not only TON and USD, TON-based and USD assets, but think of TON, BTC, Ethereum-based assets coupled with several versions of yield-bearing assets for USD, right? So the variety of assets, not only the functionality, but also the variety and diversity of those assets available for you in the wallet, in a native Telegram wallet, will grow radically, right? So yeah, this is these are the key features that I mentioned: swap and lending and borrowing. There we have apart from Uniswap and Aave, I think we are working closely with the most, and that actually unlocks the most important part, which is the yield, right? So the yield, and actually that was, coming back to our early LST days, that was the reason we were pushed into this, right? Like, do we have additional yield on LST? No, we don't. Like, what do we do? Let's do CDP stable, rather. And it ended up with TAC, and now when we have, those well-known, trusted, very professional founders and teams building applications, which open up those yields within the ecosystem. For TON, like imagine there was no yield with the depth on TON ever, right? The rest of the ecosystem, the DeFi ecosystem natively is being developed as well. It will take a lot of time for there to be, any demand on TON itself, depth of liquidity that liquidity providers will trust those as mentioned. So imagine the yield will emerge within the ecosystem. So solely for the TON ecosystem, that's a huge step. But more importantly, that opens up this gate to the blue sea, like blue ocean of users within Telegram. Yes, they're not familiar with the crypto technology. I don't believe they'll be providing liquidity in hundreds of millions, but we consider DeFi essential application layer, right? Blockchain is a technology used mostly for the value transfer. You see that in tokens examples, but on top of it, apart from transfer, and that underpins the first use case actually, which is a stablecoin. There is another rare use case in crypto, which is DeFi, right? So, and that allows derivatives to be built and yield to come out, right? So whether that yield underpinned by real-world assets such as treasuries, or that's perpetual funding rate and staking yield, which Ethena delivers. It's like different style, but they're there. And by the way, Ethena is already in a wallet, so it's maybe we should talk about the use cases we see on a separate in a separate question. But that's important. So practically, we are underpinning that functionality, and there are two steps of adoption there. So first, that TON ecosystem, which needs that DeFi functionality in the yield, and second is the availability for the consumers to benefit. That it does not mean the guarantee of the distribution, obviously, but as we see Telegram going WeChat super app way, we are working on kickstarting that flywheel of builders aware of the fact that this functionality is there, and that they can provide those benefits to the non-crypto users. And we embrace those specifically, whether it's fintech or gamify in a simplified manner, delivering the value of blockchain technology to the non-crypto users. And that's where actually we see the most of the users coming in. That's how we see the next onboarding into Web3. I bet that will come from those who are not very well familiar with what blockchain is, right? It's like flying the plane without specifically knowing how turbine works, and but still benefiting from that logistics method. So yeah. Yeah, so looking at I've been in the industry since 7 years already, and obviously, if you pay attention, you see several regions in the world investing, building, thinking, let's say, about crypto in broader terms, right? They're different, and US very strong payment-wise economy, but more centric to specific use cases, let's call this lately. Asia, more speculative investment approach, and within the Asian region, we consider that Korea, within our go-to-market community building strategy, it's one of the core regions. The reason for that is the strong awareness of what crypto is, strong demand for quality projects, and strong filter in that regard, and obviously overseen by the regulator. And we're very pro kind of consumer regulation angle, in a sense where all the risks are delivered. Like, probably the worst thing and the best thing which happened on the meme cycle was pom.fun thing, right? So this is like something which highlights the risks for the retail, and obviously that's not the direction the industry would evolve, specifically for something for us who build the infrastructure underpinning the development of the services for the consumers, right? So we think it's very important. The combination of both of the proper regulation and stronger demand for innovational technology makes Korea probably one of the most sought after regions, right? When we started to dig into the region, we understood that the awareness of Telegram, TON, and of course TAC is fairly low, right? So that actually, it's like some people say like, this is the problem, and we say where there is a problem, there is an opportunity, right? So we believe that we can be the ones delivering to, I'll tell you the ways we will be doing this to the community and building community around the thesis of biggest independent messenger with the blockchain integrated into that. And it's obvious that access to distribution, we started with this, is something which marks TON and Telegram like a standalone case. But an example of super app, WeChat, where a lot of consumer applications were built inside of it, is something not fairly known to outside of the Asia builders and people. I always provide that example. At Hong Kong, I went to Animoca brand's office, and exiting the office, there was a vending machine. And I've, with an application, I called the car, I don't know if it was an Uber or something, and I was waiting for the car, and I got thirsty, and I wanted to buy a bottle of water, right? So I took out, I have my Apple Pay, I took out my card, trying to address the thirstiness issue, ordering a bottle. I couldn't pay, there was only QR code option, right? It's Alipay or something else. And I left without the water, and I was like, Jesus, like it's 2024 was back then, and I was like, I cannot get a bottle of water because I am not using the application, which obviously this region is so much deep into that even the vending machines don't have the classic credit card option. Right? So, and that was like the moment I personally got the point that Asian region is very well aware how that's happening on the technology adoption side, and it's very different to inherently complicated, regulated, and inflexible fintech market of the West, right? So right now it's an interesting moment where actually Telegram, which is growing on top of geographies, not being specifically based in one, not being regulated, so the the open nature of the network. TON stands for the open network. Telegram spreading this concept of open communication, not limited by anything. Together, they basically are the first case of a global super app underpinned by blockchain tech. Right? So this is kind of unique and very interesting, right? So explaining that the wallet is already there. The wallet thing is practically you can call it like MetaMask of Telegram. It sounds big, but what is much bigger is that it's Revolut, which is on chain. Because like right now in wallet, as mentioned before, Ethereum is already on TON, and what product-wise, it will get to the point it will be super easy to comprehend. But right now, you can use your USDTs in the wallet, right in Telegram, and earn 15% of the yield, right? So fully transparent, fully secure, provided with the best solutions there. Ethereum, wallet, Telegram. So basically, that is something which is happening right now, and it's huge. And delivering that message, specifically in a region which was not very well familiar with that, because of regional expansion limitations for Telegram or TON back in the days. But now we are, spearheading the full functionality of blockchain for the ecosystem of TON and Telegram. We're willing to do this, and we're coming into the region. We've recently run what we call a soul-bound token sale, NFT sale, which represents the let's say which is an identity token for the community in the form of nice PFPs which were customizable of our mascot called TAC’는, and we've seen a decent demand from Korea. We are building up the momentum, announcing an airdrop for those soul-bound tokens already. A lot of benefits coming for our core community and obviously for the green part of it. And we've seen a lot of positive feedback right from Korea. We are planning, this meeting meta, emerging real life meeting meta these days. It's kind of starting from Asia, maybe even from Korea itself. And we are, we're looking to host real life meetings, forming talking, delivering that message, which I mentioned, in person. We'll host something interesting during Korean Blockchain Week. So our, physical go-to-market and community building approach is Korea plays a great role there, very big one. Yeah, sure. So basically there are two ways of accessing TAC, and TAC is an infra, so basically you're interacting with TAC if you interact with anything EVM within Telegram or TON system. You don't even maybe see it. We try to abstract a lot of difficulties on the UX, let's say, application interaction side of things. But we, from the user's perspective, if you're on TON or in Telegram, you just open the curve and you just swap TON to it. That's it. You don't, just the application teammates already they're live within Telegram. Teammate, what we call it Telegram medium. You just launch it, connect your wallet. Several steps are simplified by us. That means that, for example, you will not need to sign transaction to authorize the swap pool because of our architecture is designed. It's all abstracted away. So basically, all you have to do, choose an asset you have in your wallet, choose the one you want to swap to, push swap, sign a transaction. That's it. You will end up with an asset in your TON wallet. So from user perspective, is much simpler actually than even using the original application, because we can allow ourselves, because of the infra, to abstract in-app difficulties if they are there. Of course, you don't have to be aware of cross-chain messaging. Of course, you don't have to be aware of asset bridging concepts. It's all been taken care by TAC part, which is called TON adapter, right? One of the core modules, along with the layer 1 layer. So from the builder, or let's say you're a founder of a fairly successful DEX on any EVM layer, right? And you're looking into the future, asking yourself where your users are coming from, right? So you have two options. Search for the blockchain which has biggest user base as of now, usually kind of crowded with the EVM builders as yours, and probably you're not the founder of Uniswap, right? So you kind of be struggling and competing for the users. You'll be competing for the crypto users. Crypto users in the previous cycle called Degen community is very expensive to acquire. Attention of the crypto community comes in dollars and in high numbers of that. So basically the amount of the incentive would dictate how long they will use your application. And because of the large amount of applications, they will migrate from one to another, what we call mercenary, right? So this is option number one. There's option number two, to find an alternative. Telegram and TON represent an alternative, which is the biggest in absolute numbers in the world, right? So, tens of active wallets and tens of millions of active wallets on TON, specifically looking for the features, by the way, if you're a DeFi application which you provide, and behemoth of Telegram, which you can address. Yes, it's not a DGen community. That does not mean they will deploy a lot, will trade a lot, but they count in hundreds of units, right? So the consumption pattern is different. You probably should start thinking about how you iterate on your product and what's actually the product can benefit those. But for you to get access to the distribution, which is step one, along with this product changes, right, is to deploy on TAC. And that's probably the only way you can access Telegram these days. But the ease of the deployment is, it's fairly easy to do. So you use the same code, you deploy on TAC. Our team helps you to complement that application with a set of smart, what we call proxy smart contracts, which on EVM side allows you to interact with TON adapter, and TON SDK, which helps you interact with the TON wallet. So practically deploy on TAC, same code, using the existing proxy, or building a proxy on EVM side, which complements your application for the logistics of things, to be able to use TON adapter. That's all you're facing in terms of deployment. That's why, we've seen apps being deployed in 10 days. It's same deployment plus the proxy thing, which fairly easy using your familiar Solidity stack, right? So we have within the team, basically we have an adoption part of the team who's helping builders to go through that. We're always working on documentation to make it more self-evident. By the end of the year, hopefully we will end up where you will basically will link your GitHub, and you will get automatically generated smart contracts in a sense. So we are on the road to simplify it to the max, so the deployment is easy. Now the upsides of this are, as mentioned, fairly straightforward, right? It's access to distribution. Once again, it does not mean exact distribution. So we see applications evolving in several directions. Some of them start iterating on the product, understanding that they will be facing, consumers not necessarily aware of crypto. Some are being in infra, for example, those more for Curve. They're actually being the fundamental app layer for the consumer apps to be able to distribute it to retail in Telegram. And by that I mean, innovative ways of generating the revenue stream for applications. Instead of charging money for the app, people are actually locking assets of the users in a non-licensed, safe way with the vaults technology available there with the yielding vaults or money markets or specific applications can generate the yield while the users are staking practically these assets of that, right? So these are the things the industry is moving toward. Lots of top grossing TON applications in games such as Pointers, Garrison. They're already looking into how to integrate the DeFi on the back end, and all they have to do is work with the product consumer website. So this is our vision, is that actually that direction and that momentum will lead us to some cases where we'll hear about hundreds of millions of users using specific applications, but not just in a tapping game sense, but something which actually yield them USD-term money, right? By the way, Notcoin is a very good example where same builders family, let's say, part of top portfolio companies, and Sasha knows about social engagement so much. And I mean, Notcoin was an innovative approach on top of which those tapping mania emerged.
Yes.
I think the mechanics was interesting, but obviously it's not the use case, right? So we will see the proper usage of that mechanics to engage users to get something as a benefit out of it for themselves and for the industry. So the way I'm looking at the adoption cases from the infra perspective. right? So first, we have to have the full functionality of blockchain. The full functionality of blockchain means at least DeFi. And when you say DeFi, it's Ethereum. That's why TAC, that's why EVM compatibility. So on the way there is a very important part, which is UX, right? An experience of the user while interacting with the application in my understanding, is a core blocker, right? So technology is functional, applications and use cases are there, let's say DeFi. Liquidity is there, but the UX, it's horrible. Like it is tolerable by only TON native people, only for the reason they're TON native, right? So it's like FUBU. For us, by us build something, when the product is driven by engineer team, and that's the culture of crypto, you end up with something where you have to sign like 10 transactions to do a simple swap, right? It makes zero sense to the reasonable consumer. Like imagine there is an industry right now in the Web2 consumer product space where people are thinking in terms of whether to position the button on the upper right corner or on a left right corner. And the conversion differs in orders of magnitude depending on this factor, right? We are from the industry where you're backing up your wallet is a nightmare for the first comer. Using an application specifically on some other chain, this is something which would take you few days to study. If you're deeper into that, this is a no-go, right? So in short, UX simplification, that's what is essential for the industry. And over there, what has been done by Wallet within Telegram, it's a huge step forward. That's actually I frame it as two pillars on top of which potential adoption lies. First one is the UX simplification step one. That's the onboarding and wallet functionality. So that has been done, right? So crypto is in every pocket already, for the Telegram users. Like it should be, promoted on Times Square in New York for several years already, right? So now is the next UX simplification step. We contribute to this, and we design the architecture to be able to contribute to that UX simplification in the sense that not only we provide the functionality, but we allow the user to connect to the application, abstract all the cross-chain messaging bridging difficulties away from it. More to that, I've mentioned even some complexities within the application, which are the standard of smart contract iterations for the cryptosphere. We can abstract that away as well. So these are at least what is required from our understanding to make that potentially happen, right? And it is the biggest hurdle, and that's why we're working hard to contribute to that. And I usually, on the investment part of my talks, I usually start saying that we're purpose-built. And purpose-built is a very deep, actually philosophical thing. I can go for an hour just on that. But in our case, it's we work on interoperability with only one blockchain, which is called TON, right? We're working on specific product market fit case, which is DeFi. That's why focusing on onboarding these applications on our layer. And we're working to power that. This is a tech availability for TON. These are the apps we consider forming the fundamental layer of DeFi apps, and liquidity, which makes this to those three fused, integrated in Telegram with the help of TON, makes the actual wide access to the distribution, which will potentially emerge. So when I say purpose-built, I'm saying that we're focused on only these three things. Interoperability, we don't want to, I believe that lack of focus trying to build something for the greater good, aggregating liquidity, interoperability for all blockchains, that moves you far from the result. Right? So that's why we're focused on only one blockchain, and we believe it's so huge that it's more than enough for any infra, to be involved there. And it should be taken into account that we're doing that in a non-parasitic way, in a sense, because we're ourselves were born from within the TON ecosystem. That's why we're not a layer 2, right? So that's why we're not dragging out the user, asking him to install the wallet. That's why we're not forcing them to reach the liquidity. More to that, we add that liquidity to the user base. So all of the users of ours are on top. So we are not pumping the vanity metrics of see our socials or see our testnet numbers. That doesn't make any sense. That's the meat of previous cycles where you were trying to impress investors or exchanges with these numbers. We're saying see the applications on our site and see the liquidity, because all the users are already there. So that's why our token utility is very precise, and the security issue that we can stake and provide security to the layer of ours, the commission part, which is shared obviously with the staking. So it's not like a government application or token kind of looking just for liquidity. It's very user-centric, functionality-driven for access to that super app Telegram blockchain. Yeah, so for us, it's practically delivering the product. We've been working on that for almost a year. We are phasing out our mainnet launch, so right now in phase 1, which is a dev mainnet, so practically the infra applications are being deployed. Curve is deployed already. A bunch of DeFi applications, including Morpho and Polar, as I mentioned, are being deployed. So by the time we're on mainnet, these applications are there already. And we're coming, like the phase 2, which is a public mainnet launch, will correspond with the listing, and it's coming in the next few weeks. So for us, obviously, that's a push, for liquidity to come to migrate from Ethereum mainnet. It's waiting for the migration to TAC to come in, for the applications to be there, for the application to fill those liquidity, for it to be available from day one for the user to actually utilize these features we enable. That's that's the product side of things. I think we will see several use cases which will get quite viral by the end of the year, and by that I mean the functionality we provide to this Revolut of crypto, and wallet is moving in the direction of providing earn features for different assets, and that will on the product level they're working closely on designing the product specifically for people who are non-crypto natives, for them to understand that as well, and they play a great role. And we actually we're practically the transnational bank for infra for that, so it's interesting. Maybe the DEXs, it's highly probable by the end of the year you'll see a DEX which is very, very fast and natively within Telegram and very cheap, and it will be decentralized. So some use cases we consider important, and we've seen the success of those. They will be adopted on Telegram and us infra. But apart from that, obviously we're looking to see a lot of consumer applications. So these are kind of it's not a milestone, but it's a vision that timing-wise by the end of the year we'll see some examples of that being adopted. And for the Korean market, our presence will be bigger and bigger. We will treat the community supporting us fair, and people will benefit from contributing to community even in material sense. We are planning the physical presence, and I believe bridging this information gap, delivering the message what Telegram can do and where it's headed, which we've touched upon. It's part of our mission, so we'll be doing a lot on that front. Listen, I'm excited to get deeper into the region. I'll be visiting personally our next in-life meeting, and I will be happy, to deliver that in person to all of you. We deeply appreciate the support we've seen so far. Once again, we consider maybe the most thoughtful kind of way of looking into crypto, the one of the Korean community. And we love to see the excitement about the infra things happening, not just the meme coins within the space. So we do appreciate it a lot, and a lot of stuff happening, and we'll be contributing to the community specifically.